guys, for those of you who have been following along for a little while, you know now that we are on our little IVF journey. Now, our first visit for IVF was in November, and tonight is actually the first night that I take my first IVF medication injection.
Day one.
Day one. I mean, I don't know if you count day one today because I'm actually now taking the medication, or day one would be our first visit to even inquire about IVF. So it's been, I think, let's see, November, December, January. It's been almost like
Almost
about 3 to 4 months. No.
Well, since we began the IVF.
No. Well,
My
with
testing
your
and
end,
whatnot.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I guess we have to rewind. So I get asked a lot why we're doing IVF,
Yes.
because I have 2 kids of my own, and I guess people are like, why do you have to do that? Like, what, they're very like just genuinely curious about it.
So let me just begin with, back in January, I was, actually before January when we went to UAB.
Well, you were married before,
Yes.
and you tried to have
we
a kid
tried.
for years, and
They thought that it was just blood issues
Yeah.
and my TSH balance and whatnot. Years of medication later, still not having children. So we went to University of Alabama.
this was like 2 years ago.
Yeah. They gave me a physical and they found out that I have defects in my vas deferens. So
And those are the tubes that carry everything out.
so
and
plumbing issues on me is why I haven't been able to conceive a child.
Plumbing issues.
So what we ended up doing is
You had paid for a procedure
yeah.
to be done
I had to do
January
this
of not
procedure-
last year.
Yeah, January
Yeah.
of last year, I had to do this procedure called sperm mapping. It's where they take, I think, 14 needles and they go into different sections of my nether regions to basically
Suck it
see
out.
if there's anything in there that's viable. Fortunately, my doctor was able to find, I think of the 14 vials, I filled 12. So
Yeah, so he did have sperm.
I'm
Obviously,
potent, just can't get them out.
they haven't tested it yet, but I'm assuming, did he see it move or anything?
He
Like,
said that I think it was just the vials.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm assuming you do have sperm, especially if it's just the vas deferens issue. So anyway, fast forward today, obviously after knowing that he does have sperm, we knew we could do IVF, and that was going to be our only option because we've been trying for like a couple years, and just there's just no other way. So in the event that he didn't have any sperm to use, like for example with the sperm mapping, if we found that out, then we'd have to either adopt or use a sperm donor, which I guess I'd be more inclined personally to use a donor, just so he can experience a pregnancy, because it's something that he's never done.
Yeah.
And he's never, like, while he is already a father in my eyes to stepdad to my kids, he's never gotten to experience it from like day zero.
Yeah.
So
I'm
yeah.
so happy that we're going to be able to experience this, and I'm literally counting down the days. I know that we're both going to have to go through a procedure, so thank God for my mother that's going to come down and babysit us. But she's got to get her eggs retrieved, and I got to get cut open, and they're going to do what they call a aspiration of an epididymis.
Or if they can, otherwise they're going to cut you
Or they're
straight
going
open.
to do another procedure called the MESA, which they're going to cut open one of my nether regions and
Drain it.
basically drain it all out.
So then hopefully
Fun
by
times.
then they can test it. The embryologist, which we just finished an IVF class, so that she can look at it and just pick the best sperm available. So obviously we don't know the quality of the sperm yet, so fingers crossed, retrieving everything will help us know. So, all right, so fast forward, we started our first office visit at CRM in Mobile, Alabama.
That was in November.
In November, and this was basically our chance, our first initial visit. We met with the doctor, we learned everything we had to learn and asked a bunch of questions, and just I don't know, this is like our first visit, and we got hooked up with someone in the financial department, because in order to like actually be put on this IVF schedule, you have to pay. So we ended up paying for a 2-journey cycle, which was about $32,000. Insurance does not cover it, which is really crazy.
Yay, TRICARE.
Yeah. So, we paid, we got on the schedule, and then we got to take an IVF class, which we did a couple weeks ago. It was about 4 hours long with the embryologist. We got to ask all kinds of questions and we learned a lot of things. And basically the process is kind of like this. What we're looking at, there's 2 different types of transfers. There's a fresh transfer, which they do 5 days after your retrieval. Then there's a frozen transfer that they do anytime you want to do it because the stuff's going to be frozen. And what I actually paid for, other than the IVF thing itself, I paid for the rest of our embryos to be frozen because we do want more than one. And I also paid for it to be biopsied because we found out through this process that he is a cystic fibrosis carrier. I am not. I had to get tested too once his came up as positive. And also the cystic fibrosis is probably the reason why he doesn't have vas deferens. So that, and also he's missing a kidney. That's probably why, we discovered a lot of things in this process. We learned a lot of things in this process, but like obviously my mind is like, should I do the fresh transfer? Should I do frozen? Frozen has a higher success rate, about 10%, and that's because most frozen embryos get tested. And as you know, a lot of pregnancies that fail or miscarry, those were not viable pregnancies. They had chromosomal issues, you name it. That's why a lot of women do miscarry, because the embryo was just not right. And in our IVF class, we saw it's like, when they take my egg out and his sperm out and they put it together, they're going to check it for like up to 5 days. They're going to see it grow. They're going to see it multiply.
Crazy. And
they grade it. They grade it like with numbers and letters, and they put the best embryo in. So fingers crossed. I'm 34. My doctor thinks I have a good chance at getting or doing well with the 5-day fresh transfer. Again, it's not frozen. It's like they grow it in a petri dish for 5 days, and then 5 days after getting my eggs and his sperm out, they put the embryo back in, and we just kind of cross our fingers and hope for the best. But like I said, fresh doesn't always work. It does work for a lot of women, and sometimes only fresh works for some women during IVF, which is why I have decided to go ahead with the fresh transfer instead of just freezing them all, because once you freeze them all, you can't do a fresh transfer. And I might be one of those women who can only do a fresh transfer, and that's the case. We have to do it twice. But anyway, we already got all of our medications. I have about 6 medications I will have to take. 5 of them are injections, I believe.
yes.
And one is like a patch, which I want to make another video on all the injections. Well, I'm going to make a video on the retrieval because we're starting medications, like I said, today. So that's going to be a new video. And then I want to make a video on the transfer and just how I'm feeling and him giving me the shots and me giving myself shots, whatever. However, we don't even know how we're going to do it yet. I'm pretty comfortable at giving myself shots because I was on, weight loss medication and all that, but I don't know, maybe I'll let him play doctor.
It's gonna be
Sorry.
Yeah. It's gonna be a process, and it's gonna be life-changing. I feel like God's telling us, he's giving us the opportunity. He's introduced her into my life, and I feel like this is the way we're gonna go. And
yeah, so that's why we're doing it, and this is our journey. And trying to think of anything else to really update you guys about. Like I said, I got all my medications. We've already done the IVF class. It's paid for, ready to go. We're on schedule. We have our retrieval date, and well, we don't have our specific date yet. Just J/K. Okay, so we know what week is probably going to happen, but literally every 3 or 4 days, I have to go in and get an ultrasound and blood work. Like they have to watch.
An hour to 2.5 hours away.
Yeah, no, it's an hour. Yeah, I guess it depends on what clinic. So they are looking at my follicles right now, and they're just watching them grow, see how they respond to the medication. Obviously, if my hormone levels get too high, they have to do. It's so meticulous. It just blows my mind. And but I was already on birth control. That's not really one of the meds I was prescribed. Well, it kind of is, but it's not really a part, I would say. But they wanted me on birth control for about a month to control my cycle, and I just got off that a couple days ago, and that's why I'm ready for the shot now. So here we go. I will follow up in the next video with the shots and kind of like our transfer journey. That probably won't be, well, not the transfer journey, the retrieval journey. That probably won't be posted until, well, after it happens. So, but for now, we just wanted to go ahead and answer the biggest question of why we're doing this. And
I'm the problem.
no, you're not.
What does
Your
Taylor say?
problem-
I'm the problem. It's me.
It's his problem's my problem, so it's our problem. But no, it's just great that there's IVF exists. So hopefully this will work out. Again, if IVF just fails, if we try 10 times and it fails, I don't know how many times we would try. The other option would be a donor.
Well, the process of the CRM shared journey is we
get 2 tries.
We get 2 tries, but that's not 2 transfers. That's 2 retrievals. So say they get 10 eggs from her, we have 5 viable embryos from that 10. We put all of those embryos in her one at a time, and then all those fail, we get a second retrieval.
And they don't put more than 1 in because they don't want multiples. Like they don't want twin pregnancies, which is good.
Yeah.
So
I kind of did, but that's
no. He just wants them like one time, and he just wants to save money. But no, it's just forgot where I was going with it.
We will update you all with as up-to-date videos as we possibly can. We'll probably film super early in the morning because I was just told by my doctor that upon her retrieval date, they're going to schedule my retrieval date.
Oh, it's going to be on the same day at the same time. So
that day is going to start.
His mom is going to come down and help us out. So.
That day is going to start with me on the operating table at 7:30 in the morning, and I have to be there 2 hours prior. So
yeah, that's gonna be a fun day. I heard that egg retrievals can be really hard. I don't know about his procedure. I'm pretty sure it's not fun either, but I heard they can be really rough. So thank you for all the suggestions. I'm loaded up on pomegranate juice and pineapple and acai berry and like 1,000 supplements. So I'm literally eating everything that I can. You know, cutting back on caffeine, of course, no alcohol, and yeah. So here's to day 1. Cheers.